What is good, homies? This is Chris from the Small Hat Crew, joined today by Sun Hat Pirates, Trevor.
Yo, what's up?
And Colin.
Hello.
I am a special guest today, but also the host. I am very important.
Why did I agree to this?
Take it away, Colin.
Yeah, so Sun Pirates back here. As you can see, we have Chris from the Small Hat Crew in today as our very, very special guest in more ways than one.
And the first.
And the first. And today we are reviewing and analyzing the various builds of Gecko Moria in the OP6 format. So, yeah, take it away, Trevor.
Oh yeah. So we'll start off with what I believe is the Santa Clara regional first place win, which is the beginning of the set 6. We're on set 6, right? Yeah. Looking at the list, what I can tell you is that it's a very simple list, which has not, this was what everyone based their list off going into that regional for the most part. There was some outliers in that regional that were posting their lists that were starting the Hina Rebecca build.
Yeah.
But this is what took first place, and I believe it was due to the consistency. And again, being a new deck with consistency is a really big factor into playing against a lot of opponents, especially in the format where if people are trying a lot of new things, if your deck's the most consistent, it's more than likely going to be the reason it wins. Do you guys have any points on that, though? Anything to talk about on this list? Because I don't. It's very bread and it's cookie cutter, which I love.
I don't think so. Not until, assuming there are, because I don't remember, but once we get to the list that actually have MoriaHina in it, then I think there's.
Yeah, I mean, this is the pretty standard stereotypical list. Moria's a pretty easy deck to build. You have your 20 Thriller Bark Pirates with Hogback, Perona, the Big Moria, Absalom, and Sindri, and then you have your package of 20 Navy cards, plus your somewhere between 2 to 4 brand news, and then the only archetype cards are going to be the Rabluchi and the Sabo, and that's your standard build, right?
Yeah.
One thing that was it's minor here. Kyle did something really interesting here where he dropped his brand new count to 3 and upped his Helmeppo count to 3, because usually the ratios is 4 and 2 on those. Those are the standard ratios. That is personally something that I agree with, because that was a card that I was having issues seeing was Helmeppo. And that's such an important card with the combination of Rabluchi and Gecko. Even Absalom in and of itself. Having Helmeppo is very important. I think upping the ratios to 3 is good. And again, this is why I agree with this list in a lot of ways. I think once we start to understand why the Rebecca-Hina combo does better into the meta, maybe, and that's due to the consistency of having a good blocker or extra blockers, where the meta is just outright just playing big bodies and swinging at you. We go to something more of an interesting list.
Yeah, the Inupe, right? So instead of the brand news, it's basically swapped out for Inupe, which has a few cool things going on about it. Number one is the Thriller Bark, so it's additional targets for potentially Hogback and your leader ability if you have nothing else to revive. The draw 2, discard 2 is actually pretty relevant too. So instead of brand new, the issue with brand new is that because you cannot grab non-navy cards off of them, obviously, and you only play 20 navy cards. So brand new actually being able to fetch a card, he'll whiff a lot compared to something like Sakazuki, right? So Inupe is the guaranteed quantity. Obviously, you're not really plussing, so to speak, off of Inupe, but doing something as simple as being able to draw deeper into the Gecko Moria to just have it in your hand and then pitch easily your Rabluchi and your Helmeppo, I think provides some good setup.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that whatsoever. I don't know, though. I never was a fan of this card. Just because, even if brand new did whiff a lot, when he did +1, it's just a +1, I feel like in Gecko Moria, for example, picking up a random, I don't know, even a dead Kuzan or whatever, and then just pitching it for leader ability, I was never on board with this wasn't a wave, was it? This was just one guy who did well with this, and that was it, right?
I think so. Typically, I would agree with you. The brand new's probably still better because it digs 3 cards deeper into your deck when you play it, rather than just a 2 with Inupe. Because, it has Beyond Death Trigger, but it's not going to happen consistently.
Right.
I don't think.
You know.
Something here, and I don't mean to cut you off, Chris, but this again is going back down to the two helmet bow. But what he did here, which is something that I think a lot of players are going towards now, which he did it really early on, was capping on the Sabo ratios. A lot of people are on the 4 now comparatively to what they were, which was like the 2, the 3. And I think that's because the realization of how important playing that card is on either your second turn or on your like 8 or 9 Dawn turns with this deck is just really efficient. Board protection is in the meta right now, and it's super good. It shuts down every strategy except for Sokka, but Sokka then has to have the bottom deck, so you're putting them on having to have the bottom deck, and it's using inefficient turns for Sokka, because if you're building a whiteboard on 7 or 8 or 8 or 9, they can't just straight up Moria you unless they have all of the neg potential to bottom deck 2 bodies. Because Sokka needs to get rid of everybody consistently, I think, for the most part.
It also forces Gecko Moria into, like, if he's even going to Gecko that turn, into having to do a tempo Gecko. So and then his tempo gets answered by the other, like, by the following Gecko play from the exactly.
So it's brutal. It's a brutal card to be playing against right now. Yellow players hate the card, that's for sure. I think next we start to break into the Rebecca.
Yeah, here we go.
This is gonna be the meat and potato of our videos for sure. Yeah, but
it's
take it away, Trevor.
Crazy. Oh yeah, go for it, Trevor.
Right.
No. So I just want to introduce it because no. You guys are good. So like I think the biggest thing here is I want to introduce it. I want to let you guys just talk about it because I want to hear your guys' thoughts on it because you guys have more time on this version of the deck. I was still playing it whenever the deck was still like before the MoriaHina combo was prevalent. There's a lot of wacky ratios in this specific list from Joshua. I understand that they worked. They did really well for me. Got first. What do you guys think on these ratios? Do you guys like to flatten these ratios down more? Is that one Tashigi that important to you guys? Did you guys see why he had the one Tashigi in here? If you guys tried this specific list out or something?
Well, I mean, so I like a lot of these numbers. I'm not gonna lie. Honestly, I think a lot of them still hold up. The only thing I think I don't really agree with, and it's not even like it's wrong because like I believe the list that most recently performed well was still on 4 Porcelino. But aside from that one, like the list over the 3 events, well, even that event and then the 2 prior to it, it looks like the numbers that we're starting to lean toward are 2 Rebecca, 2 Borsalino, 3 Sabo. And so Cross, I was looking into this for like a few hours earlier today, actually, just because Cross believes that the Katakuri Gecko Moria matchup, if you get first, it's favored, and if you get second, it's still favored for Gecko Moria. He still thinks that is so I went ahead and I paid the $15 to like read into it and everything.
Yeah.
There is so much, and I feel like I won't like disclose too much regarding it or anything, you know.
Yeah, it's his paid content. But let's not do that. But...
Exactly. Right. But like I mean, like the Tashigi made sense, for example, you know, because it was not only was it another 2K target for brand new, but it was another 2K target pickup off of the Rebecca, for example.
Okay.
I also do like because one of the things is specifically about the Katakuri Gecko matchup because that one, like, it hasn't really been figured out until I've yet to playtest into Cross's new theory for how to approach the matchup. On paper, it makes a lot of sense. It is very Rebecca and Sabo focused. There are some times where he will like forgo like a removal Gecko to actually just go Gecko Moria, cheat out 4 cost Rebecca to pick up a Sabo for the next turn. Yeah. So like I don't know, I'm a very big fan of it too. He also like tries to get you to shy away from like pitching your Hinas for your leader ability because Rebecca has become such a crucial part of that matchup where now it's like you want to hold it so that when you do either hard play the Rebecca or you do Gecko it out, since that's a thing that we're just doing now, because that was like very common in Sakazuki, but it was not common for Rebecca to eat up your 4 cost target off your 8 cost Gecko until now. So you can literally swap your Sabo for the Hina and stuff like that. I'm a very, very big fan. I'm a very big fan of what Cross is doing. The way, like, I don't know, the way he views the matchup. It's very, 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 it's very unique. And it's funny too, because like I remember Arvin saying that like just play Sabo. A good amount of like reading through that article, bro. It really did come down to that.
At the end of the day,
true,
it
though.
is that. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah. But so, Colin, I don't mean to interject here. That is something that like whenever I come to, it's crazy to think that one card is what's causing that matchup to be so consistent or like so in favor for Gecko. And it's until they were playing the MoriaHina, and which is because a lot of people weren't at the beginning, like that they were. How did they win the yellow matchup before that? Because if you couldn't grab the Sabo after milling, is like how the hell were you even doing that? Yeah,
because like it sounds like a lot of it is like stuff that we already kind of knew for the most part, like keeping Katakuri on 2, for example, so you can't Amaru your Rebekkas. So they actually do get to function as blockers. And then the fact that she is picking up 2Ks, or the fact that she is picking up your Sabos, so you get to play more Sabos throughout the game. There's like 10 Dawn turns where you just play 2 Sabos, for example. Stuff like that just make it very hard for them to secure the kill on you. It's crazy too, because like these numbers, like I remember like when this list first appeared, I took issue with like 2 brand new, 2 Helmeppo, and now I just think it's correct. I've seen it so many times, it just works. I really do feel like it's like brand new does he just like whiff a lot more now, but it's like even if he whiffs, you know, he does fuel the trash 3 cards, and there's just like there's if you do struggle into that matchup, I would say it is worth like, I don't know, pledging the 15 and reading into that article, because like there's a lot of stuff in there that Cross does go over. That it's stuff that like a lot of it's gonna be stuff that you would obviously like already know just if you play tested the matchup. But then there's just a lot of weird like specific little, let's say kinks, things regarding the matchup that just like you wouldn't think to do because it just doesn't sound right. And even like as he's like explaining his thought process and everything, there's some things where like he's still not even like confident on whether or not it is correct, but it's just a weird different approach he's taking, and he's seeing success with it. So I don't know how much of it is like just objective and how much of it is like player diff at the end of the day. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it depends. Like I know one key difference with this list that we have up on the screen versus what Cross has been running. I think he still runs the Kuzans, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. Whereas this one runs all 4 Borsellino blockers, which personally I like that more. Where the Hina kind of takes the place of the Kuzan, so to speak, and you're working with more counter between your 4 Borsellinos and your 1 Tashigi as your 13th 2K. But yeah, like it's. I agree with you though. I think it is. It could just be a player preference thing, because I could see like maybe instead playing like 2 Borsellino, 2 Kuzan as well.
Yeah, there was a period where like he toyed around with the idea of just cutting it all together.
Yeah.
But like after testing that, he did ultimately decide that Borsellino does belong in the deck. I won't disclose his numbers or anything, but you know, because we do have a regional coming up in a week. Yeah.
I think because I'm gonna throw all the questions out here just kind of towards you guys as the people playing the deck consistently more than I am right now. What do you guys think about like instead of the 2 brand new, have you guys thought about just doing 2 Anupe in this build actually? And then the other question that I have for you, we can answer them in tandem or separately, but what about why are we comfortable getting rid of the Kuzans and also reducing the Ice Age count to 3? Because in my head, if we're removing the card that is the reason we're able to win the matchup, in my opinion, which is the yellow matchup with the Kuzan, why don't we have more of the card that is -5 on it for the with the 1 cost event?
So the Ice Age is actually the one number here. It's one of the numbers that Josh toyed around with that I'm actually not a fan of. I do get it, I guess. But I feel like when you have a pop 2 for 3 Dawn on you at all times, I feel like it's crazy not to run Ice Age.
That was my thought process. But Chris, if you're agreeing with me, or if you're agreeing with me, Colin, do you have another point of view on it? Do you agree with the 3 Ice Age?
Actually, I actually do. And here's why. So, what is the most popular deck in the metagame right now?
Yellow.
It's
easily.
yellow. It's Katakuri, right?
Yeah.
What bodies are they typically playing before 7 Dawn? It's it's what's his name, Perispero and Kikunojo, right? Very rarely will they actually play a Sanji on you. Like usually the only time he comes up is as a trigger.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes they don't even want to bring him out because they don't want to discard the card. And then otherwise, there's also Gadatsu.
Right.
So, the two small bodies between Perispero and Kikunojo, typically, I don't want to deal with them. From what I've noticed in my testing on Sim, and like me and Arvin have been doing targeted testing with the Gecko versus Yellow matchup. For Gadatsu, Helmeppo and Hina typically take care of him already.
Yep.
So, realistically, what I want to be killing from the Yellow matchup is typically just Big Mom, the 7-drop Big Mom.
Right.
To where it's actually specifically the 7-drop Big Mom too, because 10-drop is like really hard to kill. And typically against a 10-drop, I'm not trying to kill the 10-drop. I'm trying to go Rebecca Sabo.
Yeah, right.
Stay alive. Because I should already have a Gecko Moria established on the table with like 1 or 2 other bodies that should be able to swing out for the game. So that's where I'm coming from, where I actually do like the Ice Age in that sense, being at 3, to have more room for other utility and more specifically more counter, and more blockers, which I would consider running the 4th Sabo in this list, to be honest with you.
But is it just cut one of the Borsalinos down? Or you said you like the 4 Borsalinos, so what would be your cut?
I might even cut the Ice Age, to be honest with you.
Oh, all right. Crazy. No. But this is good though. So the next question I have, because I brought it up earlier, is why are we not just playing Anupe in this list? Because everything in my deck in this list here is like every time I want to play the brand new, I want it to be a Anupe to draw the cards. In my head, I don't play the deck. I don't have any time on it really. So what is your guys' thoughts on that in terms of why are we not just playing the draw 2, discard 2? Because it fills the trash. It's one less card. I don't think is at the end of the day the biggest deal. But being able to draw the Sabo and the Ice Age on the same turn, maybe that's a powerful play for me.
You want to know my honest answer?
What's up?
What?
I didn't think about it.
Okay.
But now that you mentioned it, I want to try it. So.
Yeah. Like, because in my head, it's like I would rather be playing the card that filters 2 into my hand that could maybe be counter off of a survival play with Rebecca, because that card's playable off Rebecca too. So in my head, it's just a Anupe. That's all I'm thinking about when I'm playing this deck. Is like, if I'm playing this version brand new, let's put in some Anupes in here, and then I would run it. Actually, I kind of want to sleep that up and run it tonight, like in a few nights from now, or on our next locals. But that actually sounds like the better list to me.
I'm actually kind of down to try that.
Okay, all right, yeah, we'll put a little note on that one. But I think going next here. Give me 1 second.
I think that's all the lists that
I do
we
believe
had
that.
for
Yeah,
this.
that's all the list.
But yeah, I mean, for those of you watching, definitely watch out for this variant against Katakuri, which, if they win the die roll, they usually like to take first away from you. So when you're going second, your 6 Dawn curve with Hina into Absalom is very, very strong, because in the traditional build, you cannot present 2 bodies like that. Whereas in this build, the Hina Absalom together, you presented 2 bodies and you destroyed their previous play. Right. Like their Gadatsu or whatever, right? And even same with the 7 Dawn turn, if you actually do take the odd curve, you can go Rebecca Hina Absalom, destroy their previous play, and now you actually have a blocker on top of your 2 bodies, which is really good.
No, I think that's the popular. That's a big reason why the popularity is rising on this type of list, is because at the end of the day, One Piece from day one has just been a board game. It's who's got the best board at the end of the day. On the final turns.
It's all about tempo. Yeah,
it's all about that. So I think, and that's why Hina looks like a vanilla card. It's printed as a vanilla card with no counter, but it is a disgusting card at the end of the day, because it does have that little text that says -4, and it's a 5k body that can swing.
Even without the shrink, sometimes I just play it out as a body because I have extra Dawn.
Yep, and that's why I said I love her as a vanilla. She is just a vanilla at the end of the day sometimes, but that's good enough, because in a meta where Whitebeard's gone and these 6k leaders are just gone in general, these 5ks reign supreme, and especially in this game state, or this games where we're playing now, which is like little to no counters in hand, so you don't have to do these these crazy 8k 9k swings every turn. Magic numbers isn't really a thing anymore. It's realistically, for a lot of the turns, just swing 5 or 6 and see what you get. And then the magic numbers come when you're going for game, or you think you're going to go for game and you test the waters a little bit. But yeah, no, that's the perfect thing about Hina. Colin, I believe you have. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember like when Rebecca Hina first showed up in Gecko, I was very opposed to it. You know, like it felt bad, but I think it's also because people, I feel like the pack was like overcompensating with the numbers because it's like you were running like 4 Rebecca, 3 or 4 Hina, and running that many Hina in a leader like Gecko Moria, like it's just bound to break. You're already running Lucci's with no counter. Your 8 costs have no counter. There's just a bunch of no counter bodies. So I do think playing it initially with that many Hina in there and just breaking on it obviously leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So you come to think maybe we just don't need this at all. But I do feel like the 2-2 was like the perfect number for that, because it does feel really good. The amount of difference, because like now that black has so much grave recursion and stuff like that, like whether you see the Rebecca or you mill the Rebecca and then you play it off to like the Gecko Moria or something, you're always gonna have access to it, and it's always gonna get you to the Sabo. Like, and that has become the card that has like kind of reinvented this matchup. Another big part of it really is I think a lot of it's just like life management, because right now we're kind of in this little window where where it's like either I take the damage so that I can protect my bodies, keep them out of Gadatsu range, or I don't take the damage to avoid Kiku Nojo trigger. That was another debacle a lot of people are in. That's one where there probably still isn't a definite answer on that yet. There is one though that like Cross does favor, and I won't disclose it here because again, same reason. But
subscribe to his Patreon, right?
Yeah.
the plugging of that man's Patreon in this episode,
bro. Literally, this matchup was what drove me to, because I remember too, like I got the notification last night about it. I was like, I'm not paying for this. I was like, what could really be in there? And then this morning I woke up and I was just like, Kasimi's a week away. And I am so bad at that matchup. If I go to Kasimi just to, I was like, what's $15, right?
Yeah. No,
like, what's $15 to perform better at Kasimi? Because even if it turned out that Cross was like delusional, right? And it wasn't. It's like I'd just be back at square one, right? But he's so confident that it's favored even into going second. It's like, let's at least see what he has to say. You know, let's at least look into it. And I feel like a lot of it, bro, it holds a lot of weight. I do want to play test it. I want to play test that matchup a lot.
We could play test.
Yeah, I know. I had you on Katakuri for like 5 hours last time, Colin, just to go like 1-3. So
it's all good. I mean, but there is a reason, right? Why? I'm so sorry, I forgot the name of this other channel, but I saw a video where they broke down, like very well, the conversion rates to like top 32, top 16, and whatnot. And Moria still has the highest conversion rate. Like, despite Kata being the most represented deck, Moria actually has the higher conversion rate. And like, there's a reason why you see these top players that are still topping with it, right? Like Cross and I think recently Chris Sock too.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say anything that we do mention, we'll probably try to put it down in the thing below, the description below, just to see if we can help you guys guide you a little bit better, like Cross's channel, see if maybe we can find that video that breaks down because I'm a fan of win ratios and the conversions and understanding like what decks are doing best in the meta. So that's an interesting video that you bring up though, Colin. But I'll let you go ahead, Gears. Sorry.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, because that was pretty much always the thing. It was like Gecko only really ever had one bad matchup that was like relevant to the mechs. Like, sure, he loses to Perona or whatever, but like, do you really expect to run into that? You know, outside of if you're undefeated after like round 2, you're probably just gonna dodge Perona for the rest of the day. But there's no dodging Katakuri, you know.
For sure.
But I remember like Cross's run. I think he played in like 5 or 6 Katakuris. He only lost to 1. It was a guy that won the entire event. So like,
yeah, that's a good.
Clearly does understand the matchup. Clearly, it is winnable, and I mean, until I've play tested it myself, I don't know if I can say it's favored, you know, because that just seems crazy to me. And it seems crazy to me, but But I don't know. Well,
I think that's just I think that just speaks to the strength of Katakuri this format too. It's just like it's just one of those decks where like anything can happen. So, you know, if like you can be doing everything perfectly and you can still just, you know, die to triggers, right?
Yeah. Yellow.
Yeah, just die to yellow things.
So I think other than that, I don't think there's really much else to discuss here. What I'm gonna say is at this point, I think give every list a try, see what your playstyle is. I think preferably, I do believe the MoriaHina combo, and I can't wait for us to try this Inupe with this. I think Inupe is going to be gassing this. But I do say try any list that you guys want to go find out, and hopefully this will help you a little bit. And give our little idea, our ideas and concepts behind the lists going forward. But I think other than that, do you guys have anything else to put in there?
I disagree with Trevor.
Oh,
don't try every list.
Don't try
every list.
Don't practice the game. You got it, dude.
Don't try every list. MoriaHina, it's crazy.
Okay,
it's crazy. I think it's the way. I think it's the future. To Trevor saying try the other list, I say
All right, well, I think other than that, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you guys would like to, like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be great. Would love that. Again, anything that we did mention, we'll try to put it down in the description below for you guys to reference. Do you guys have any sign-offs or anything like that?
Chris, feel free to plug your stuff, man. I mean,
yeah, please.
You're definitely like 10 times bigger than us, but still.
I was actually gonna say to subscribe here. Yeah. If you haven't already subscribed to the Sun Pirates, obviously do so. If you're hearing this, you've made it through the entire video. I hate to be that guy, but as far as One Piece content goes, some videos are so hard to make it all the way through. If you have actually made it through to the end of this video, you have found a One Piece content that you can sit through. Why not drop a subscription, right? Why not like the video? Why not help channels like this continue to grow? It just makes sense. Give them the motivation to keep pumping out videos like this that you're sitting through so they don't stop. Otherwise you end up in a situation where like Small Hat doesn't upload for 6 weeks. So
dude, I'm
dang, that got real.
I'm blushing a little bit here. All right. Well, again, just subscribe. Subscribe to the Small Hats. Subscribe to Sun Pirates, please. But other than that, then you guys have a lovely night, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys.
See ya.